You know, this revolution is filled with so many ironies, really. First, you tell us that it is manly to keep your word. All right? If you are a man, you keep your word. And now all that the black people in this country are demanding, and even the black people in the whole world are demanding, is that you keep your word. You told us we were free. Well, then show us that we're free. You told us that there is justice, equality for all in this country. Well, then stick to your word and let us see the justice and equality for all. Or else admit to us that you're not a man. You're a worm. You're afraid of us. You're afraid to give us equal stand. You're afraid that if you give us equal ground, that we will match you and we will override you. And if that's what you're afraid of us, then tell us that just what you're afraid of. But don't keep hiding it from us and holding this up to us, and every time we ask you for something, you give us a little bit of something, and it's all tokenism. We don't want tokenism. And there are most black men in this world that don't want charity. And yet still every time we ask you for something, you give us a little piece, a little piece. You're playing games with us. We're not children. We're big men. I've seen my father have to put up with all kinds of stuff. He was a big man. He raised a family. He went down south, and he had to go around to the back door with his wife. We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for any favors. All we want is what's ours. Now, there are many black veterans who are coming back, and they're mad. They're angry. Do you think that they're going to sit down through this? Our fathers didn't have the knowledge that we have. They sat through it. But there are other black youth that are not going to sit through it. We know about Che. We know about Fanon. We've read the books of our revolution. We've listened to Mao and his quotations. We know where we stand. We're not going to sit for it. We're asking, and if we ask and we don't get, we're prepared to stand up and take it. If I ask a man, I tell a man I am hungry. I tell him I am cold. And I ask him to do something about my condition. And this man holds a loaf of bread right in front of me so I can see it. And I keep asking him, I'm begging him to please give me a slice of the loaf of bread. I am hungry. Then it is known by every psychologist that the next step in the progression is I am going to knock him upside the head and take the bread from him. I'm not going to starve to death. All we're asking, no one wants to see blood. No one likes the smell of blood. No one wants war. Anyone who's been in war doesn't want war. Everyone knows what it is to see the inside of a man's gut hanging out and see your friends die, see relatives die. No one wants to regress back to the state of mind where you have to think it's all for the cause, therefore my mother has to die, my wife has to die, my brothers and sisters have to die. No one wants that. But you're pushing us to it. You're leaving us no choice. We're asking, we're begging. The students up at Columbia, they ask. The brothers down south ask. The brothers in Latin America, the brothers in Africa, they're all asking. All they're doing is asking. Our fathers asked. Our grandfathers asked. The presidents of our universities, our colleges had to go to your back doors to beg that their children be given just enough money so that they could be taught something to live off. And yet still they asked and asked and asked, and you refused to give them anything. Now, we're just about out of patience. We're not going to ask anymore. The news media says that it's only the young that are militant, only the young that want this and want that. Okay, but we're 40% of the black population now. Or we were a year ago, and still yet we're climbing. Before long, we'll be 50%, 55%, and then we'll have the command. We're not going to take it. We're not going to take sitting in rotten parks and in places that just aren't fit for living. We're not going to take it. There's a limit to a man's patience, and everyone knows that God, Christ, heaven, everyone knows that what we're asking is not $1 million. All we're asking for is humanity. We're asking to be allowed to live like human beings. And God, you tell us that this is too much to ask. You're sick. You're definitely sick. How can you tell me that it's too much to ask to be a human being?
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. What's going on? Shouts out to Raw in the building. What's going on, Matron? Appreciate Matron in the building. Thank y'all for coming through. And today I wanted to do something, I guess different. I haven't seen, I guess, a lot of people talk about like the Black History thing, but the more you look at like Carter G. Woodson. Of course, like y'all know, we talk about Black history all year round and stuff like that. But he said that we should come back, every whatever and show what we learned. You know what I'm saying? So I want to show, what I've learned and I guess just do it a little bit different. If y'all want to come up here and talk about anything, just let me know. Matron or whatever. I ain't gonna put the link in the chat yet, unless y'all want to come on here. But if not, just let me know. But yeah, man. So today we just gonna do talk about Black history, but I know a lot of people don't talk about certain things for Black. It's the same old thing, the same projects, the same couple of people that we gotta study instead of like the actual truth about the history and all of that stuff. So that's just what we're gonna do today. All right. So first and foremost, though, hopefully it's sharing. And y'all gotta let me know because um, this is my computer is acting crazy. Then I had to do it on the other one. So if it's messing up, y'all let me know. If it's not sharing or something, let me know. But I do have to start the Black History thing with this because this is a recent event in there. My computer might keep skipping and stuff like that, but yeah, boy left a boy left a trail.
They ready. Oh, they ready. Big boy bumping like good gas. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Red back ass. Man, they couldn't do that with that man. They jumped off while you had to sit on him. What the hell? And everybody on the super cycle, we just wait. They ready to move out. They ready to move out. You ready to run? Yeah. What's up? I was talking a minute ago. Yeah. Woo! They scared. Look at them. They scared. Woo! Beat their ass.
So my man over here held the boat with one arm, you know what I'm saying? My man over there.
Beat their ass. Woo! Oh my God. Woo! That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get. Oh, tie her ass up. Ooh, she whooping her ass. She better put her in the water. In the water. Tie his ass up. Cause y'all were wrong. man.
I gotta get that hem up. Like, boy, don't you ever in your damn life. Y'all all know that old black man grab, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't you ever in your damn life put your boy, is you crazy? Any young brother who's tried his father once in their life, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
He going to jail.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
All right, y'all. So, you know, I'll say this, you know, and I don't know if y'all still there, but I like to nominate this moment as a moment that could be inducted into Black history, you know what I'm saying? Something that could be shown and talked about, and you know what I'm saying? So I like to nominate this moment in Black History Month, you know what I'm saying? Black History Month moment. I don't know if y'all agree, you know, y'all let me know if y'all agree. But anyway, speaking of that, you know, just what I've learned from Black History this year. I'm gonna go through some of the stuff that I've learned. Now I'm gonna skip some of the stuff that I've went through myself with the Black History thing, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna skip a lot of those because we already talked about it, or we about to talk about it, but some of these we're gonna end up talking about anyway. But you know, speaking on the moment, here we go.
They vowed before they started the revolt that they would kill every white person they saw. Men, women, and children.
They were done being dehumanized.
Yeah, you
they
agree.
were done
Well,
being treated as property, and they just rebelled.
The rebels followed kind of a zigzag path. They stopped at most of the houses along the way, killing the slaveholders and their families who they found there.
Oh, I gotta run that back one more time.
The judgment of this court is...
Sorry.
They vowed before they started the revolt that they would kill every white person they saw. Men, women, and children.
They were done being dehumanized. They were done being treated as property, and they just rebelled.
The rebels followed kind of a zigzag path. They stopped at most of the houses along the way, killing the slaveholders and their families who they found there.
Oh man, now I wish I could play some quote unquote reenactment. And y'all forgive me too, because this might slow me down, but I couldn't have more. But you know, I definitely wanted to look at some of this stuff, but it's going to like stall me out though. But it's all good because we're gonna talk about, you know, celebrate Black History Month, I guess, you know. And hopefully this is the right one. I think it is, but now it's not gonna go on there. All right, let's see if it works. Because we only really need to see one part for real, don't we?
World and not to the kingdom of heaven, and that I should return to the...
Oh,
he would preach to fellow slaves and even some whites, earning him the nickname prophet, and even claim to receive visions. When he was 22, he at first confiding only in those closest to him. Then, in 1831, a solar eclipse appeared in the sky like a black...
What's going on, my brother Anthony? You know, we just celebrating Black History Month, I guess the way. And like I said, Carter G. Woodson said, yeah, Black history is too, because we talk about it all the time, but he said, come back during this time and tell each other what we have learned about Black history. So this is some of the stuff that I learned about Black history this year.
Black fist blotting out the sun. They planned the uprising for July 4th, Independence Day. But illness befell Nat and the insurrection was called off. That was later. It started the night of August 21st.
Had that man in there. You see how they had the cartoon with the man in, but I like it like that. I'd rather have it like that. Like, oh yeah, just the eyes coming through. You don't know what's gonna happen. Well, we know what's gonna happen, you know.
The small band of slaves killed Nat's own...
See, even in the cartoon, they blanked it out. I mean, like, come on, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? They can show all the kind of stuff in the movies and stuff. We want to see what happened, you know. But even in the damn cartoon, every joint blanked it out. But even in the damn cartoon,
owner Joseph Travis, his wife and son, as well as a hired worker, in their beds while they slept. After the group left, they recalled that there was one more member of the Travis family.
Uh-oh.
So 2 slaves returned to kill the infant in its cradle.
Ain't that something?
Nat...
No, he's going. I'm gonna play that part.
After the group left, they recalled that there was one more member of the Travis family. So 2 slaves returned to kill the infant in its cradle.
Now I wish I could play a lot more, but they don't do my brother Nat Turner justice. You know what I'm saying? They don't do my brother all that much justice. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. My brother Nat Turner, who I think was born on the same day I was born, and he was born like not too far from where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just saying, y'all. Now, of course, Madison Washington, who I always try to talk about anytime I get a chance, because this brother was like a real life hero. You know what I'm saying? This brother was like, nah, I'm coming back to get my wife, and got caught and then freed everybody, including his wife, you know.
Starts in Virginia. So the eventual leader of the revolt, Madison Washington, himself escaped slavery and made it all the way to Canada. Now, reminiscent of the film Django Unchained, Madison Washington actually came back to Virginia later to rescue his wife.
Nothing like the film Django Unchained. Now, this brother went to Canada. It's like, nah, I can't. I got to go back and get my family. So he had like weapons, like knives and like different kind of like, you know, sharp objects stitched into his clothing, so that if he ever needed it, you know what I'm saying, he could pull it out and do what he had to do. And so he came back to Virginia and to like the area where, you know, his wife was. And during this time, you know, they had this corn shucking, which is basically like a cookout now, but they were shucking corn, you know what I'm saying? And that brother was able to get some information, but he ended up getting caught. And so here is like what they call like Shaco. They took him to like that place, Lumpkins jail and stuff like that. And like the place that ended up being the farmers market was actually like the places where they sold slaves at, you know what I'm saying? But now they sold like vegetables and stuff after that. But yeah, man, they took this brother down by like Shaco Bottom. You know, they used to have this thing when I was young called Annabelle Lee. I don't know what they had back then, but that's where they used to deport a lot of them and send them down south, like to New Orleans and stuff like that. So that's what happened to this brother,
who was still in slavery. Now, one version of the story, it was said that Madison Washington actually did reunite with his wife on the Creole. However, there's no evidence that that actually happened.
And by the way, they be like, there's no evidence that it didn't happen, but like, really, the odds are that it probably did, because they be like, oh yeah, like this troublesome N-word to be, because that's how they think. Like, we just gonna sell her and get rid of both of their asses, And so likely they probably did sell her, you know what I'm saying? Because if you didn't know, like, they didn't see people as they projected, because we know.
After Madison came back to Virginia, and this is also reminiscent of Django Unchained, he was actually recaptured.
There's nothing like Django Unchained. After he was recaptured,
he was actually sold, put on a ship called the Creole, and was being shipped to New Orleans. Now, the ship left Richmond, Virginia on October 25th, 1841, and the revolt actually happened several days later on November 7th, 1841. So what happened? Well, a lot of what we know happened comes from the testimony of the actual sailors who survived the revolt. And so this isn't necessarily something that's totally fictionalized. There are fictionalized versions of the story, but what I'm going to talk about today really comes from those testimonies from those sailors. Now, one thing we know based on the ship, and so one of the things they did on these ships was to keep the men and the women separate. And so what happened is, when essentially Mr. Morris told these men that the male slaves had gone to where the women were, they went there to check. And so bolt. In addition, several crew members, including the captain of the ship, Robert Insert, were severely injured during the.
They messed them up. And then they went to the Bahamas, and then they tried to send my man to trial or some crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? But of course, nothing happened. So like, who knows how many it was? It was like 100-some people, 60-some people, and different stories. But like he said, he ended up taking, let's just say 100-some people to the Bahamas, where they were free, you know what I'm saying? And his wife happened to be aboard. So he not only saved his wife, he saved like 100-and-some people. And this was a real brother. And this was the same year as the Amistad. And of course they're gonna make a movie because they like, give us free. And this brother was like, yo, I'm gonna take us free, you know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother thing. But I gotta shout out to this brother. And I gotta play him because he's from where I'm from. I know my brother Anthony know him. And
are you sick of having issues with your webinars?
It's like the
10,000 a month.
No.
1860. This is where the most Africans were traded at. This is where they was brought to. This is where they was brought into the inner cities of Richmond. Over 10,000 a month of slaves.
Now, what's crazy is, right, if you go out there, they got this thing called like the slave trails. You know what I'm saying? I guess they call it something different, but it's like the slave trails. And they go like all up and down the James River, but like the area where I'm at, they got like a little plaque there that was like, oh yeah, George Washington was here in 17 something, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I could have like pushed them off that little bridge into the water, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't here, But now, like, you can walk on those paths, like, and I just think about it, like, they was walking out there like barefooted, and it's like, especially if it's like cold or raining, because it's like what you think like a riverside bank is, and they walk through that so much that it's passed through there, you know what I'm saying? And like, so like you can walk, like I usually walk my dogs on there going up and down like the James River and stuff like that. But they used to like bring them there. And then Richmond was the biggest slave market. And then of course, New Orleans was the second, they take them. That's why they usually ship them from Richmond to Virginia. But like they sent them to Virginia because Lumpkin's jail was supposed to be the place where they sent the quote unquote rebellious people. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I walk on these trails all the time, and I'll be like, yo, that's crazy. Like, imagine having to do this barefooted in the dark. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of like spiders, snakes, and all that stuff out there still right now. Like you walk down there, be like, yeah, you got to watch out for snakes and stuff. But they down there, and who knows how it was like 200 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. I never met the brother though.
Being traded and walked through on this slave trail. And there's something about our history that many of us don't know about. When they was walking this slave trail, this is where they snuck them into the city. Because in the city, this is where the white Europeans were living at the time. It was a majority of rich Europeans living in the city. Tell them, waterman right here, to sneak them into the city. That's called dehumanizing our ancestors. They were dehumanized.
Yeah, and I've been literally like here, you know what I'm saying? I guess I should have recorded it or something. I don't know, but I didn't. But it's all through this, like this whole trail goes for like a long, long, long time. And it's different areas, you know. Like I said, they took them up to like Chaco Bottom, which you'll know if you like know the city, but
and you know, that's important for y'all to know as y'all come visit this Richmond slave trail. Also, this is where one of the slave owners who was known for selling like 6,000 kids per year on this slave trail. They walked the slave trail right here. 6,000 a year. Kids was being sold on the slave trail.
They said 6,000 children was what, like, and if you, like I said, it's like you walking in the path in like the woods, kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they was doing this barefoot in chains. It's crazy.
This is also where the historical.
But anyway, you know, Madison Washington was the truth, and you know, a black brother who should be revered. You know, now I couldn't find all of them because I was trying to like hurry up. I already got too much, and it took me too long. But they talking about military units, but it's militia units, right? Because there was hella black militias, you know what I'm saying, going around. And I talked about a couple of the stories, you know, but there was a whole lot of black militias going around from like the 1870s, you know, and I wish we had like footage from them that we could show, you know. But anyway, let's go to another brother here, you know what I'm saying. I don't know. I know my brother is familiar with Robert Charles, you know what I'm saying. And this was a brother from 1900, you know, the year 1900, who was down in New Orleans, who wasn't playing no games, you know.
As a civil rights activist to seek jobs. Most people moved around that time to seek work and employment. Urbanization allowed those small towns in 1960s around this time. Robert Charles moved to New Orleans from Mississippi as a civil rights activist to seek jobs. Most people moved around that time to seek work and employment. Urbanization allowed those small town individuals to move to bigger cities to seek employment. Shipbuilding, different things, the ports that New Orleans offered that he could not find in the farm bills of Mississippi. The reason why Mr. Charles' ideology was so profound around this time is that when he moved to New Orleans, he saw a lot of the colorisms and the segregation going on so heavily. From where he was in Mississippi, he saw a lot more black unity and understanding. So Mr. Charles' ideology.
Now, to break that down too, right? Because yeah, black people knew what was up in 1900. You feel me? So like you go down to New Orleans and they got this whole weird mulatto thing going on down there, like with the mulatto balls and all that weird stuff that they was doing, and the quadroon and whatever the hell they had going on down there. And so then he see a stronger presence of this colorism, you know what I'm saying, where you see different classes, and then that goes back to like where the French was in New Orleans. And so like the French did it differently than the British, although like they're still like no different, but they use mulattoes differently than the British would use them, you know what I'm saying, just technically. And so like then you see like a lot of this, that's why you see a lot of the stuff that went down to Haiti with the mulattoes, and then they brought that stuff down to New Orleans, and then they had all these Creole balls, or not the Creole balls, but you know, the mulatto balls or whatever you call them. And so they had a whole bunch of weird stuff going on there. So the brother Robert Charles coming from like Mississippi, like where it's like black people, we already know what's up. He like, what the hell going on down here?
Black unity and understanding. So Mr. Charles' ideology was very prevalent. The reason why he was such a big deal and his story matters is because he actually started a labor dispute uprising in New Orleans.
Labor dispute my ass, you know what I'm saying? They was harassing him. Him and his homie, you know what I'm saying, was waiting for their girlfriend or their dates or whatever. And the you know, they was in a nice black neighborhood, and I guess the police seen them, and I guess they was like figured they shouldn't be in some nice stuff and start harassing them. And the brother Robert Charles was like, man, y'all ain't gonna be playing me like that. And so I let him tell what happened.
Robert Charles is a part of history that a lot of people do not know. Robert Charles actually started the white situation going on when he killed a lot of white people. When he started off at the beginning, Robert Charles shot and murdered a police officer for encroaching upon him. He tried to arrest him on some bogus charges, but Mr. Robert Charles went out shooting. And when he shot that police officer, all pandemonium was going all crazy. A large manhunt ensued for Mr. Charles, and Mr. Charles, being a hunter, living in a small town country and knowing how to survive.
And that's something. So he had skills, right? He had to hunt for his own food. He had to do. They couldn't mess with that brother for real. They tried to set him up. They deputized a bunch of white boys, and every time they thought they had him pinned up, every time they thought somebody snitched on him, he popped somebody else and got away. You know what I'm saying? Or not just somebody else. He done took out like 3-4 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like this police and all the deputized white boys down there. So yeah, that man was getting it in.
And Mr. Charles, being a hunter, living in a small town country and knowing how to survive, he was a self-educated person known for his discipline, self-defense, and the shooting. He actually shot several police officers and killed roughly 11 white people in the process.
I think he shot like 27 people and like killed like 15. Like 11 of them was cops and like 4 of them was like white boys who tried to roll up. But he shot like 20-something people though.
Mr. Charles was a rider, y'all. The story was so eerie because you see him being chased by a community of white militias and white activists about this time. But Mr. Charles was in a shootout, shooting them, killing them, hunting them down. One gentleman had the whole city of New Orleans in a frenzy. Robert Charles wanted to teach so much about self-defense and defending himself and not to bow down that his ideology was sort of like Nat Turner in a way. He went against those white issues and white battles that we had at this time. The reason why I found this issue so prevalent around this time is that stories like this we don't talk about enough, but I think is definitely important. The reason how they got Mr. Charles is when he was shooting and hunting and going from the people, he actually made the mistake of running into a building. What the white people did was actually through some smoke in the building, allow Mr. Charles to, what kills you in a fire?
They and what they used to routinely do was like set buildings on fire or homes on fire. And when people ran out, even if you were carrying a baby, they just opened fire on you. And the brother ended up holding up in the building. He was still, in that building for hours and hours, and shot multiple, shot multiple of them. But, they set the building on fire. And then when they eventually came out, they got my brother,
Trying to burn something down is a smoke insulation in your lungs. So Albert Charles was killed that day.
And so it's irrelevant
around
about
the time
that
when
part.
Plessy v. Ferguson laws came in.
It was only relevant.
The reason why Mr. Charles' ideology was so profound around this time is that when he moved to New Orleans, he actually started a labor dispute. Who do not know, Robert Charles actually started the white situation going on when he killed a lot of white people. When he started off at the beginning, Robert Charles.
That's the important part you gotta remember. Shouts out to his brother. Yo, and Ida B. Wells, like you can literally listen to the book. Like she went down there to like see what was up. So it's like coming from black people. Ida B. Wells literally like detailed it. Now white authors be stealing her work all the time, and then they try to like publish it now. But she went down there in real time and got the story about what happened, and you can literally just listen to it. You know, Ida B. Wells, Mob Rule, and New Orleans. You can like just listen to it while you're doing something, and you will know about a black hero, and you would have listened to the words written by the great Ida B. Wells. You know. All right, so you know you have this stuff here, like this kind of stuff. Now the Elaine riot. Now they depict it the way that they depict it is one way. You understand? Because black people faced terrorism, but what they won't tell you is their response to that terrorism. You know what I'm saying? Now, I found the best one that I could, but they're not really going to show it.
The landlords cheat them out of their rightful share.
The man would take your cotton, and then the man at the store, your head credit, he run the books up on you.
By the way, sharecropper, if you didn't know, is another form of slavery. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not all one form of slavery. You feel me? This was just this code, but they can kill you now because you ain't somebody's property. You know what I'm saying? Where they ain't got to pay some white dude for killing you. Now they can just like, you know, kill you because they want to. You feel me?
The man at the store, your head credit, he run the books up on you, so you didn't have nothing. You work a whole year and hand pick 40 bales of cotton and come out with nothing.
They kept him in debt. This black or white, but particularly blacks, and he never did get out of debt. So he might be living on the same plantation for 10, 15, 20 years and never get out of debt.
They work you like a dog or something. They was through with you. They would do you just like, I would say just like you would do old dog or hog or something.
This is the way things were in the South.
Yeah, it sound like y'all going on whatever.
World War I. W.E.B.
All right, blah blah blah, blah 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 stuff.
So called because blood flows in the street.
All right, so yeah, Red Summer, right? And you have to understand the difference between a massacre and a race riot. A race riot is most times when you fight back, and most of the time when you fought back, we got the better of them. Like you would send them running. Like it's a reason why they had to call in like militias and armies, because you was kicking their ass, you know. So they had to like bomb the city. You was like, that's what they don't tell you about Black Wall Street and all of that. They was whooping their ass, you know what I'm saying, to the point where they had to call in an airstrike. You feel me? And even like because Black people never, like, we always fought smart, you know what I'm saying? Like, back during the times what we talked about before, they used guerrilla warfare tactics and strategies. They used the land to, like, to their advantage, you know? And here, you know what I'm saying, they didn't just go straight up with them, you know what I'm saying? And even when they did, they sent them packing. But then you would have Black snipers on the roofs, like, you know what I'm saying? They would make sure that they put in that work, you know what I'm saying? This is when they start coming home from the war and stuff.
Race riots erupt in over 350 cities. In Chicago, 23 blacks and 15 whites are killed.
They said, no. It was like 23 Black people was killed, but that's like a lot of it was like police brutality stuff. And Black people got tired of it and started just, you know, getting it in, like slaughtering the white people. You know what I'm saying? But
15 whites are killed. In Washington, D.C., 4 whites and 2 blacks.
Now, understand, like, I know that might seem like a small number, like 4 whites and 2 blacks was killed, but they'll tell you some stuff like, oh, well, the only thing where Black people won was this one time, but that is entirely not true. You know what I'm saying? In fact, when Black people start picking up the guns and they say, if you're going to go out, take at least 2 of them with you, that's when they got them up off of them. And it's not even true when they be like, you know, oh, this was the only time where they want to, like, you just see like just this one scenario and this one thing out of hundreds of riots, you know what I'm saying, in Washington, where more white people got, you know what I'm saying, smoked. And I'm telling you, that's a reoccurring theme, you know.
Whites are astounded that blacks dare to fight back. On the night of September 30th, 1919, in Phillips County, Arkansas, a small group of black men and women are also planning a fight against their oppressors. They have organized into a union, the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America.
One more time, into a union. A union called what now? Oh, is that brothers outside of a church with shotguns? It's crazy.
On the night of September 30th, 1919, in Phillips County, Arkansas, a small group of black men and women are also planning a fight against their oppressors. They have organized into a union, the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America. Their plan
Yo, what's going on, Coco?
is to sue their landlords for money owed them for their crops and for an itemized accounting of their charges at the store. But the farmers' plans are known to their enemies. Even as they meet, two white law enforcement officers arrive at the church. Shots are fired, and
now they make up like now this is a dramatization. What happened is from apparently the stories, I don't know if it's correct or not, but the stories that like mostly black people tell, like some white boys then pulled up in some pickup trucks or whatever the hell they was doing back then. They pulled up, they came up there, and they was talking crazy. And the black people was like, yo, you better get the hell up out of here. And then they be like, oh, it's disputed who shot first. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when it came down to it, the black people sent them on their way. You know, because it was black men outside of a church. You know what I'm saying, with shotguns. You know what I'm saying, standing posted up.
In the confusion, a white man is killed.
You see who's killed? Did you hear that? Because they downplay it all the time, like we wasn't getting the better of them most of the time, which is why they had to use military force. And you know, at some point it did get overwhelming, I guess, you know, but I don't think it could be, but you know, I guess it did, you know.
Shots are fired, and in the confusion, a white man is killed. His death triggers a massive reprisal. Terror reigns.
All right, whatever. Now, one joint that I do like is the new Negro movement in the 1920s, right? And when people think of that era, you would probably know it from like the Harlem Renaissance and all of that. But yo, it's like the new Negro, because they were saying like, yo, we came home from the war, we ain't putting up with none of that stuff. We go fight over the seas, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no way we coming back here dealing with that stuff, and we strapped up now, you know what I'm saying? And then you have stuff like, this is from like colleges, but you know, like whatever they're worth, you know, when he hits back, you know what I'm saying? This one was the African American response to race violence during the stuff, you know. I can't click on none of this because it's going to freeze up. But yeah, what is the new Negro mentality? The new Negro is a term popularized during the Harlem Renaissance, implying a more outspoken, quote-unquote, advocacy of dignity and a refusal to submit quietly to the practices and laws of Jim Crow racial segregation. In other words, you know what I'm saying, that was their way of saying, we not ancestors, you know what I'm saying, we're going to kick y'all ass, you know what I'm saying. That's what the new Negro mentality was, you know. And a lot of that stuff was, you know, that's how you get like the Red Summers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I wish I could go on a lot of the we gonna go through it like when I finish the Black History stuff, but you know, it is what it is. I have to play this one though because they say that this one is damn, I should have put on the right part. The only time where Black people won something,
Are you
know.
still only getting a
But obviously we just saw that's not true. But definitely got a shout out to the Camp Logan riot or the Buffalo
Honestly,
Soldiers.
have a lack of
Yeah, I should have had the one.
who had been the park superintendent and had no law enforcement experience.
National Guard training sites across the United States.
Against in Texas and Indian territories. They had earned this respect again and again through serving in Cuba with Teddy Roosevelt during the Spanish
movement would have been delayed 50 years.
Later in junior high school, Angela Holder saw a picture in an American history.
Soldiers personally, except the ladies were all trying to marry a soldier.
All of these things were going on.
I'm trying to get to the part where he was helping the Black woman, I guess. Misunderstand this, my ass.
Control the Black people. So I think there was strong animosity against them. And this man, Lee Sparks, represented the worst of it.
Officer Sparks was the guy who, he had a reputation in Freedmanstown of being straight up.
Was comprehensive accounts of the Houston riots.
Sparks was very proud of the fact that he could beat blacks over the head and get their, as he always put it, get their heart right. He always put a notch on his gun every time he shot one.
Sparks and his partner Rufus Daniels patrolled on horseback in the large Black neighborhood in Houston's 4th Ward. Today's West Dallas was known as San Felipe, and the area was known as the San Felipe District. It was near here on the morning of August 23rd that Officer Sparks and Daniels spotted 2 Black teenagers shooting dice in an alley. The dice shooters soon ran down the alley and right into the home of Mrs. Sarah Travers.
And she was ironing, and it was a hot day. She was dressed appropriately for the hot weather, but inappropriately for house guests. And
Basically, this sister was in her house in her, bra and underwear and stuff, you know what I'm saying, getting ready or whatever she's doing. And these 2 white boys bust up in her house.
Cops came barging into her home and asked, have they seen these 2 crap shooters? And she resented the fact that they had invaded her private home.
Get out! This is my house! You ain't got no right to be here!
And obviously an altercation developed between Mrs. Travers and the 2 policemen, and they arrested her.
So they arrested this sister and took her outside in her bra and underwear. And she was like a church sister, and she was like, yo, don't do this to me as a woman. You shaming me and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, the sister was like highly offended, and that's like one of the reasons they arrested her, And so this brother, who's a soldier, comes to her rescue,
Carried her to
at least steps up,
police
I say that
box,
much.
where they would call in and get the wagon to come and pick them up and take them to the jail. Now, it happened that a black soldier witnessed the screaming of Mrs. Travers, who resented being hauled into the.
My brother was like, yo, what the hell is going on, bro? Get your hands up off her, you know what I'm saying? And the police was like, get out of here, you N-word. He was like, nah. And he pushed him. We got the cop up off him. And then they got into a fight. And then the brother ended up shooting the white dude.
To the jail, and he tried to come to her assistance.
An angry Officer Sparks pistol whipped the soldier, Private Alonzo Edwards, and took him to jail as well.
So they thought that he got
Give
shot.
me a 1 drop, man.
Right, because he got into him, you know what I'm saying? They thought, and the other soldiers thought he got shot, you know what I'm saying?
It was a
But we
release
gonna
of
get to the-
pent-up energies that mirrored the situation in camp. A white officer brought Corporal Baltimore back to camp, hoping the news he was alive would calm the angry troops.
when those soldiers saw one of the most loyal black non-commissioned officers.
Can't tell you, sir. The most loyal one, you know what I'm saying? Now, the dude who did that was the corporal, and they was like, oh, he's one of the good Negroes.
His side.
Well, let's get to the
And when they were done
point.
shooting,
Let's get to the point.
30 minutes. Vida Henry was I think, even more than Baltimore, was a black man who felt that he, as a soldier, deserved to be treated with respect. 30 minutes later, Henry led most of his company, our company, out of the bivouac at a little after 8.
Charles Wright encountered a handful of black soldiers when he ran to see what all the commotion was about. His brother explained what happened.
they phoned me and told me that my brother had been shot and that he was at St. Joseph's Infirmary. He told me that they had surrounded him. He said that they hollered, "Halt." And when he raised both his arms, they shot him through both arms. And as he fell, they shot him again through his side. And when they were done shooting, they said, "We have got this white son of," and went marching on.
You can replace that with honky or whatever.
On the way toward Bruner Street, now Shepherd, Henry's column passed a house where 3 teenagers were on the porch. Spotting movement in the darkness, one of the boys told his sister to turn on the porch light, attracting the attention of the soldiers, who then shot out the light, killed one of the boys, and seriously injured another.
The minute things happened, word got out pretty quickly, and the town went berserk.
Now, I will tell you this. They could not beat them, you know what I'm saying? They were soldiers, you know. And so this ended up being like, I think still the biggest court case, like with the most defendants in one case at one time. But the thing about these brothers, nobody said a word, you know what I'm saying? There may have been people who got arrested who had nothing to do with it. May have been people who was a ringleader in it and didn't get arrested, but nobody ever said a word. Nobody ever snitched on each other. Like it didn't even matter. And then you know, they tried to like lynch them, but they all was like, yo, don't even give them the satisfaction of like begging or any of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But they ended up killing like 17 or something, like white people or something like that, doing the whole thing, which is they'll leave out the movie and stuff, but you know, it is what it is. Now, this one, see like the zoot suits, right? Now this was the 40s. This was another one, right? When you had to beat up on them again, you know.
However,
now today they'll try to make it seem like some Mexican kind of thing, but like you gotta understand, it wasn't even the same back then. You know, black people and how we are with the styles and stuff like that, and they was mad because, you know what I'm saying, you was fresh, and they was like, oh, we need this for our war that we're doing, so you can't dress up, and so black people had to beat up on them again, you know.
It's the summer of.
But I can't really play this one because they try to make it seem like it was about Mexicans and stuff like that. But I guess this is, you know, one that from Detroit in 1943, where they was trying to terrorize black people, and black people was like, yo, we had enough. You know, this is just some footage from it from back then. You know what I'm saying? Black people was like, nah, we ain't playing that stuff, you know. And they ended up fighting back and stuff like that. I wish I could find something better, but they always say something like crazy about it, you know. So, all right, yo, this is another one, right? Now, when people think of Birmingham in 1963, like people really think about like the church bombing and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, like, because it was after the church bombing, right? They then shot another young black boy, and then the black people, the black community went crazy. Now they show you all of these stuff where they was like peacefully protesting and all that stuff, but that's not what they was doing. Like,
Dr. King was also jailed during.
they was like setting the. This might not be the right one. It was like setting the city on fire. I don't know.
That dramatized.
I don't know.
Banning segregation nation.
You don't keep you and them separate. I found that out in Birmingham. You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
So this was a man who was defiant and
3 days of sit-ins. There are more than 300 arrests. The bull
issue an injunction. Violating that injunction automatically.
This might not be the right one either.
That threatened to.
About whether to allow.
the young people.
Yeah, I don't think this is the right one either. I don't know which one is the right one. Maybe it's this one. I don't know.
Veil.
Turn violent.
From civil rights leaders like Dr. Mark across the street to a park where they were determined to demonstrate peacefully for equal rights.
I was arrested after we got about a block away from the church in this area.
Janice Kelsey was 16 years old when she and her schoolmates were jailed.
My mind was made up. I was going to participate. I was going to go to jail. I wanted to get my freedom.
Then on the second day of the student demonstrations, things turned violent. Police turned high-pressure fire hoses on the young people and said attack. Brutal crackdown was widely televised, and images of
Now, yeah, this is all they show you, you know, but it's difficult to show you when the fact that they had to do something about it is because black people was fighting back, you know what I'm saying? Like, after that church bombing and stuff like that, and then not only the church bombing, but then like when that young brother, that young boy got shot and killed, the people was like, yo, enough is enough, and they was like setting the city on fire, and that's when JFK and all of them decided to do something, you know, because black people was setting the streets on fire, and they'd be like, oh yeah, well, some people will say JFK was a hero, you know what I'm saying? But he was letting all of these black people get like slaughtered until black people said enough was enough, you know? See, yeah, they didn't talk about this, but yeah, 6 dead after that, you know, of course they have the youth slain, but that's when black people start using the pipe bombs and all of that, you know. Of course we got to go to this one. Yo, what's going on, Buwana?
It was the most widespread, most destructive racial violence in American history. White people driving through the riot area were considered fair game, whether young or old, men or women. Their cars were battered, the drivers stoned, kicked, and beaten, and the cars were burned. The mobs might groan and curse in disappointment when a white got away, and then cheer like a football crowd when a car went up in flames.
I'll run that again, because this is what they said, you know.
Considered fair game, whether racial violence in American history. White people driving through the riot area were considered fair game, whether young or old, men or women. Their cars were battered, the drivers stoned, kicked, and beaten, and the cars were burned. The mobs might groan and curse in disappointment when a white got away, and then cheer like a football crowd when a car went up in flames.
Yo, if N-words love the N-words like we love the Bulls, right? Then maybe this will happen.
A white got away, and then cheer like a football crowd when a car went up in flames. The burning and looting, the shooting and beating went on for nearly a week. It began as many race riots have
All right. So, y'all get the point, you know. Well, I'll play that part one more time for y'all.
White people driving through the riot area were considered fair game, whether young or old, men or women. Their cars were battered, the drivers stoned, kicked, and beaten, and the cars were burned. The mobs might groan and curse in disappointment when a white got away, and then cheer like a football crowd when a car went up in flames.
All right. And it wasn't just there, because we've been recently talking about this anyway. But
specific plans for law, pillage,
yeah, whatever.
and all
Shut
to
up.
do with civil rights.
I don't think. Were you bewildered or angry or what? I don't think it's right for my people to act the way that they're acting. This is all I can say about the thing, because we're fighting one war now in Vietnam and we're losing.
We fighting one war in Vietnam and we're losing. No disrespect to this brother, but this is how some of y'all sound now, though.
Angry or what? I don't think it's right for my people to act the way that they're acting. This is all I can say about the thing, because we're fighting one war now in Vietnam and we're losing.
Oh, my bad.
All I can say about the thing. Were you bewildered or angry or what? I don't think it's right for my people to act the way that they're acting. This is all I can say about the thing, because we're fighting one war now in Vietnam and we're losing, as it is. So, I mean, why should we come back here and fight a war among them? Among ourselves.
I wish I could have got some of the ones that I wanted to get. Like, there was one story of like this sister, I forgot her name. If I remember her name, I could have pulled it up, but I forgot. But she is like 40 something. She went into a pawn shop to do something, and some white dude disrespected her, and her son, who was a veteran, went down there and like whooped the dude's ass. You know what I'm saying? They got into a fight. And then when other white people saw it, they jumped in it. But then when black people saw it, they jumped in it. And then they start just crushing the white people. And like I said, that's why they had to bring the military in a lot of the times. But a lot of times that didn't work. That's why they also used, you know what I'm saying, black leaders. And that's why they had to do certain things to stop this from going on, because the military wasn't as effective as you would think it is. You know, like what how black men then, they was how in the 40s and stuff like that, they would shoot out the street lights, or whenever the hell they got street lights, they shoot the street lights out. You have black men snipers on roofs and posted in different spots. They set up barricades so they can't get but so far into the areas. And this is why they had to do something to make sure that, like, if people think it was just like the marching part and stuff like this, this has been the Negro question. How the hell are we gonna stop Nat Turner from rising up, you know? Yeah, you heard him, right? He said we already losing the war in Vietnam. How we gonna fight ourselves? We ain't fighting ourselves, and we ain't losing nothing in Vietnam. They be like they burned down their own neighborhoods, right? But that's because they had white businesses in their neighborhoods that discriminated against them. And most of those white businesses, they just like, yo, you ain't gonna have no business in my community and discriminate against me. You feel me? And so when you say you destroy your own, they didn't own it at this time, you know what I'm saying? Because we already know, we skipped that part, but all right. Of course, then you had like Chicago and stuff like that. I think this was supposed to go earlier, but now this ain't like no what you had the youth going in, you know what I'm saying, out on the streets, ready to fight for whatever, you know. Of course, there ain't no sound with that, and all these, you know, businesses in their neighborhood that belong to other people. This is how they treated them. All right, so you know, but I want to show some other ones that people don't really talk about, like, because I know that we think that this is like new or something. But or that it stopped somehow when it really didn't. So let me see. Hopefully it worked. Now this was in 1970. You know, they'd be like, oh, in the 60s, that was it, you know. This is 1970. I wish I could show you the story. I get confused. But pretty much, you know, after, you know, they was being them, black people was like, yeah, no, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
They're always living. Well, I hope the worst is over. Let me say it that way. We always live in hope, but we fear for the worst, you know. But I really do hope that the worst is over.
Yeah, I hope.
I feel that we've been playing around all the morning. But what I'm really after is not whether or not they are charged or not, but the question is whether we are going to release them because we know the charges are illegal. They are people who were assigned. 75 or 85% of them were people whom we asked to volunteer themselves finally to help keep peace in our community. And because they were keeping peace, they are in jail. And I'll never go for anything short of it. Nothing.
Just 1 minute. If you say, Willie, that those people were out there.
The police department. Now, every gentleman in here, every black gentleman that asked me to go out there and give my body
And point out to who they were so we can recommend to the judge. I don't know. That's the reason I say that.
The Middletown Police Department. Sir, the Middletown Police Department. Now, every gentleman in here, every black gentleman that asked me to go out there and give my body, they're going to come to court and testify to the fact that I was legally, now you're talking about legal, I was legally given the authority to talk to the people. This cop took me and laid me down. Now, I don't have to lie about it. You can see it. Now, I mean, now, if I did any kind of fraud, fighting back, the man would have shot me. Because when the little kid threw a bottle at him, they just turned around and shot point blank in the bushes. Now, if I had hit any cop, this is common logic. If I had hit you, and your life was in jeopardy and you had something to protect yourself, what would you do?
You run their ass out of town. That's what I do anyway. Or that's what black people used to do. Yeah, so this was another one in 1970. Where black people got fed up and just, you know what I'm saying, tore up the city, you know. You see everything going down. know, it's the same thing over and over, you know. And it's the wrong one. Yeah, so, and they shot this young brother, a young kid in the back, you know what I'm saying? And what the people did then was not say no justice, no peace. It was just, you ain't got to say it if that's what it is, you know? All right, and hopefully they play. All right, I ain't gonna keep doing that. Yo, what's going on, Bukhari?
Now, as News Channel 6's D. Gray.
Many Augusta residents aren't old enough to remember, but others will never forget.
We were told to go home. Don't get involved in anything. They probably knew exactly.
Dismiss students and block them from trouble that was brewing. Now known as the Municipal Building. Black residents demanded answers after mentally challenged African-American teen Charles Oatman was placed in an adult jail, savagely beaten, and killed behind bars. With more questions and no answers, residents became enraged.
The variety curb market was a scene where you saw people running out of there with arms full of merchandise.
During the riots, 6 black men were shot in the back and killed by local police.
The National Guard was called in, more than 2,000 of them, and they took up arms in much of the business district and around several white neighborhoods.
50 years later, and just 2 blocks from the starting point of the riots, students at the Jesse Norman School of the Arts are shining a light on this dark spot in the city's history.
It's made me more sensitive and also good.
Oh yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to play that whole thing, because what they often leave out is like why they stopped in the first place. It's because black people's like, all right, that's how they want to play. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it then, you know. And let me see. All right, I'm almost done, yo. Then I'm gonna get off of here.
That ain't gonna do it, sir.
This was some footage from that particular one.
We want quietness, but we want our schools. Why can't the federal government leave us alone and give us our schools for the sake of our children, for us, for peace of mind? We want no trouble. We don't condemn these black people. They are human beings too. We understand that, but we want our school. And it's wrong that we stand up for a change. For the first time, we are standing up for our rights. What is wrong about that? And why did he have to come over here? To order us to do what they want us to do. Now we're not going to do it. That is over. These people fight for your rights. And I mean fight for what you think is right and what's in here to fight for. You got a heart, you got a conscience. Fight for it. And give it all you got. And I mean the people of the world today better do it. Because if they don't, they're going to be dominated throughout this world by this federal government, which is dominating the world today. No matter who.
Oh, no. Oh, my bad.
In the presidential chair. And
all right, so but yeah, they gonna leave out the part where, you know what I'm saying, what really got them up off them. And then you know, and I'm showing these ones because I know people don't really talk about it like that, but this was one here, you know, in 1980 in Miami, you know what I'm saying, because like, you know, like this stuff never like stopped, you know what I mean.
Welcome back. Another protest in the streets of New York. This is Manhattan. $100 million in property damage. All 40 years ago in 1980. Understand why the so-called McDuffie riots were years in the making.
Injustice! Injustice!
When Liberty Burns takes you back to perhaps Miami's worst moment. In its darkness, The documentary takes you by the hand, guided by the timeless words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
By the way, he wasn't there because they shot Martin Luther King in the face. So,
in the final analysis, a riot.
County public safety officers for the savage beating death of 33-year-old Arthur Lee McDuffie, an ex-Marine and insurance agent.
The most severe wound is the one which is between his eyes, fractured his skull, and literally destroyed his brain.
Dudley Alexis produced the documentary.
It wasn't one death. It's so many things that was happening in the city of Miami.
Right through Overtown, displacing dozens of black residents and destroying livelihoods.
From their beautiful homes.
They had completely destroyed the Old Town community for the most part because the houses were gone, I-95 coming right down 3rd Avenue.
In the late 1970s, the Larry Shockley case, a Hialeah police officer who shot and killed a 21-year-old black man.
The grand jury yesterday said there was not enough evidence to indict Shockley, and that decision has outraged black community leaders.
Then a white state trooper receives only probation for molesting a 10-year-old black girl in the backseat of his patrol car. The wrong house drug raid on a black school teacher, and the guilty verdict for grand theft of Johnny Jones. Many of his black supporters felt the charismatic Dade County School Superintendent had been targeted.
Injustice! I don't think much has changed because, we look at today,
It does look, boy, it does.
All right, so this is some of, because the thing is, they was down there like smoking them white people.
Now stands at 11 with more than 120 persons injured in the riots, looting, and fires of last night and today. Affected areas are still reporting sniper attacks, and from almost any point in the
I told you, black people, like when we ever use sniper attacks, that should have been effective in America. I could say that.
The curfew has been ordered for tonight. More on that shortly. First, 2 reports on damages.
Helicopters on surveillance missions. Residents, frantic that their homes might burn, called fire and police stations, but to no avail. Those residents, the fire department says, will have to fend for themselves until it's determined that it's safe to go in.
It was like, yo, we ain't even helping black houses.
Is bound to climb higher as those fires burn, and there will be no way to count the injuries to life and limb until emergency vehicles can re-enter the fire zone. Mary Nissenson, Channel 4 News.
It said non-blacks, not people of color, by the way. See, that's a gaslight thing. When they be like, you destroying your own neighborhood. It ain't mine. You own them up. You own it. You know what I'm saying? We don't know, home. There's no such thing as a black man owning any kind of a business. Right? We need dependent on them. So he's saying if you mess them up enough, you know what I'm saying? Or you could not go in the store, but you could get gangster if you want to. But it'll give you opportunities that open up those businesses, I guess. their money making, then that would be set back 10 years. How are they set back if they getting smoked? So the white and Spanish was getting it down there, by the way. It was pulling them white folks out them cars and doing what they was doing. Of course, y'all remember this one, right? The 92 thing. I don't know if this was before. My grandma used to watch. I remember I was young watching the OJ thing, you know what I'm saying? And I remember they got super mad at that, but of course I know y'all remember this whole thing that went down.
Reported structure fire for Light 464. We're taking some pretty heavy flak on Roger.
To major emergency blazes for protection, but with respect to trying to get LAPD service or anything else, folks, you're on your own down there.
Being beaten, there is looting. It is a dangerous night in the city of Los Angeles.
Let me see. This is probably the one I probably should have. All right. Hey, Koreatown, you know what I'm saying? Fresh off of smoking this young black.
At that time, I was in the gun store. Then I have received a phone call from my employer. His name is Richard Park.
Richard Park, you know, of course they gotta take a white boy name. His name is Richard Park. But you see this person of color here, and I don't know what else I got.
Richard Park. He also owned a jewelry store right down the block there. And he said, David, we're having a gunfighting here. So can you just come over and help us? We already called police. And when I
wish I can get on the phone, like, yo, Luana, we having a gunfight over here. Can you come and help us? Like, oh, no, I ain't coming over there. Bakari, we having a gunfight, bro. Don't be no individual right now, my brother. Come help us. You know what I'm saying? This is a shame.
Arrived here, at the beginning, I can see the LAPD, the vehicle with like 3-4 officers were there. So, oh, we have a police here, we are safe. But as soon as the gun fighting started, they ran away. Bye. Koreatown was not African Americans. It was more likely Hispanic cholos or gangbangers. Bullet was coming to my face here and there, so I thought I'm going to get shot. So, naturally, I just trying to protect my face, my hands like this momentarily. Then I was thinking, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? So I just, put it down.
That's that high Asian IQ right there.
Whoever actually I saw having, otherwise I could have got shot.
Thug, man. Look at this damn thug, man.
Otherwise I could have got shot. Some of them are popping up from there and there with their shotgun and handguns. In retrospect, it's a dangerous moment. And I was scared. But, even...
So, I would say, if we thinking we got friends, just keep that in mind, you know what I'm saying? Because it don't really work out like that, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot more that I could have said. But I guess we got to go to the modern. I guess the last one, you know, that we could talk about, right? The one up in Dallas.
Flags and flowers for the fallen. Police cars covered in makeshift memorials. A city, sadly, in need of comfort. Deep in the broken heart of Texas tonight. A dark hour for Dallas. It all began at 7 o'clock last night. A large demonstration gathering in Belo Garden, a park in downtown Dallas.
Justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Demanding change after police killed black men in Louisiana.
Now, be careful what you say, because I'm just looking back on the Black history. We were just looking. They didn't even say no justice, no peace. It was just no peace, you know?
No peace!
Demanding change after police killed black men in Louisiana and Minnesota this week. For nearly 2 hours, everything running smoothly. Dallas police post photos and video on social media, handshakes and smiles with the protesters.
Let's get a black cop out there.
Estimated at 800, with 100 officers watching over. And then, just as darkness falls, you can see the moment when one protester realizes something had gone terribly wrong.
Wait, now how could that be wrong? He just said no justice, no peace. Can y'all tell me was the justice for I think this brother's name, I can't even remember, like Keith, it was like Keith something. I'm sorry, I forget his name, you know. It's been so many. Oh no, that was like North Carolina. I'm sorry. I don't even know which one it was in Dallas. I don't even remember which one this was. Was it George Floyd or something? I don't know. No, it wasn't George Floyd. I think George Floyd was still alive, you know. Was it no, it wasn't Sandra Bland. It was no, it wasn't. Damn. Can't remember who it was.
Something had gone terribly wrong. And the peaceful march turns into a panicky scramble for safety. The first crack of gunfire. Some thought it was fireworks left over from the 4th of July earlier this week.
Please, over there! Come on!
It wasn't. Police radio broadcasting out the chilling warning.
Shots fired.
This one was Philando Castile. Okay. Oh, so yeah, it was no justice. So, I mean, what do you expect? That's what he just said.
Officer down. We got a guy with a long rifle.
Officer Jimenez or whatever his name was. I guess we should have got a picture of the Cholos doing the other riot, you know what I'm saying, with them trying to shoot at black people. But anyway.
I don't know where the hell he's at. SWAT officers on floor 2. They're taking fire with the suspect shooting at police.
The killing is not random. In the bullseye, the police. The shots fired from a parking garage at El Centro College. The gunman firing so rapidly, police at first mistakenly believe there are multiple shooters.
Two snipers, at least two snipers, from elevated positions as the protest rally march ended, began firing upon our officers, ambush style.
9:35 p.m., the first police officer reported killed. 5 minutes later, 2 officers are down. This graphic and shocking video shows a man with a gun engaging an officer in a one-on-one gun battle. Another witness with a camera across the street captures this angle. The killer gunning down a policeman in cold blood. You can hear the anger, the outrage, the trauma in his voice.
That bastard come out there shooting. He had an M16 or something what he had. He was the one doing the shooting. Get his ass.
Taking his life into his hands, the man with the camera pursues the gunman, pointing him out to the other officers.
He went over there by the school. By the school. He's over there at the school.
The toll now, 3 officers dead, but the carnage is not over. At 11:13 p.m., police report a 4th officer has died. Shortly before midnight, police corner a suspect in the college parking garage. They negotiate.
You see him? Right there. Let me zoom in. Yeah. They got him.
He said he was upset about the recent police shootings. The suspect said
the black police chief out there right away. Where is the black police? Where's the black dude that we can send? We got to send the black negotiator and the black police chief and or not chief, but black spokesperson in our time of need.
The suspect said he was upset at white people. The suspect stated he wanted to kill white people, especially white officers.
Negotiations break down. More gunfire.
There's a sniper. He shot 4 cops. I'm not. You hear it? He's shooting right now.
After so much bloodshed, police decide to end the standoff with an unusual tactic.
We saw no other option but to use our bomb robot.
A robot closing in on the suspect and detonating a bomb, killing him.
Other options
riots of 2017
would have exposed our officers to grave danger.
At 3:35 a.m., officials confirm the standoff is over. Just after 4 in the morning, President Obama, traveling overseas, speaks from Warsaw.
As I told Mayor Rawlings,
if I had a son, he would look like Xavier Johnson.
Officials raised the tragic toll. 12 officers shot, 5 dead. 2 civilians were also wounded. This unforgettable image, police officers at Baylor Medical Center saluting the victims in blue. Finally, just before 8 this morning, and many Americans are getting ready to go to work, the exhausted mayor and police chief of this stricken city sharing heartbreaking details of what happened on a night in July here in Dallas.
All right. So I guess as we see, and this was the brother here,
We're getting a closer look at his motive and what investigators found inside his home.
Micah Xavier Johnson. Only that's who the brother was, you know what I'm saying? He would have looked like Obama's son if he had a son,
Authorities say this is the deadly sniper, Micah Xavier Johnson, a former military man who went hunting for police, specifically white officers.
there appears to have been one gunman with no known links to or inspiration from any international terrorist organization.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News Johnson was armed for his shooting spree.
That's for sure. Don't worry. These Negroes is lone wolves. If anybody do something, he's a lone wolf. Don't worry. You're safe, white people.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News Johnson was armed for his shooting spree with an assault rifle and 2 handguns.
It's been a tale of cowardice by an assassin.
Johnson served in the Army Reserve from 2009 until 2015, doing a tour in Afghanistan. According to police, his Facebook page reveals some of that rage against police. He liked a page which said, quote, "Kill everything blue that moves." Overnight, police searched Johnson's home in Mesquite, Texas. Police say they found bomb-making materials, ballistic vests.
He didn't. Now, this is the thing. We just saw Robert Charles from 1900. You know what I'm saying? He shot 27 like white people and like 11 cops. You know what I'm saying? And this was 1900. And this was 2017.
Police say they found bomb-making materials, ballistic vests, rifles, ammunition, and a personal journal of combat tactics.
This was a well-planned, well-thought-out, evil tragedy.
Neighbors in this...
Evil is subjective, by the way, and it's not a term that you should be using as a police journal, because kind of, if you think about it, you could say that evil is a spooked out term, for lack of better words, you know what I'm saying? And as a professional, you can't use a spooked out term such as evil. You know what I'm saying? So
evil tragedy.
Neighbors in this quiet suburb of Dallas were stunned that the killer was living among them.
This guy lived around the corner from me and was willing to take people's lives that he didn't even know. It's
should have cooked them dinner. Should have cooked him some dinner. I wish I would have knew about this brother that was around the corner from me that was willing to say no justice, no peace, Maybe, just maybe, it could have been a better way.
CNN's
or a more effective way, or maybe that was the right way. Who knows? Oh, man.
Test itself. Yes, it was peaceful.
I don't even meant to play it.
Grabbed my rifle, charged it, and put it around my neck and drove like that. We were directed to come to headquarters first. And once we got to headquarters, I could hear shooting. Yeah, it was just mayhem. Smelling the gun.
All I want to play about his words.
And once we got to we make eye contact and we do.
And then the black negotiator.
To the suspect.
We definitely got one in
slow
this
everything down.
flash.
I just want to talk to you, Ed. Can you talk to me for a second? What's going on today, man?
He was really upset about most.
I can't hear your point because I'm too worried about being shot.
He wanted all of us to transition tonight. And I said, what do you mean transition? He said transition from this life to the next. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, he wants us to die. So I knew I had to get the emotionality.
He didn't say him.
No. Okay, I won't call you, bro. I apologize.
Jeremy, let me find some more. Don't get your schedule.
Yeah, just hang. You said we're killing your black brothers, right?
There we go.
No, I'm black?
Yeah, I probably could have guessed that. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the damn problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes it even worse that they sent the black dude in here. You know what I'm saying? Don't you get it? Like, shouldn't you be on my side now? Like, you don't see that? I know that you're black. Do you know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't you get it? That's why we here in the first place. Like, you know, and he was like, oh yeah, you want to kill black people? I'm black, so you don't. Dude, like, I know that. They're probably going to send the black person to do that all the time because that's just how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't you get it now? You understand what I'm saying now? You're here because you're probably black, fool. Anyway.
Did you know I'm black? I'm black, bro. I just went to college.
Then he laughed.
Yeah, I agree with
And
Barry.
I did that on purpose. And because I want to get the emotionality.
You know what's going to happen?
Well,
you know what's going to happen next? You know what's going to happen if you kill yourself? You know what's going to happen? What? The media is going to tell their own story.
Not that far. No.
You not see the proof? He's fighting. That's what I'm doing. If I was a soldier and I was killing Iraqis, y'all would be praising me as a hero. And now that I kill y'all with real terrorists, now what?
He's a hero.
But is it going to be looked at that way, X? I don't care how people know. But I'm saying you're doing this for black people, right? Yeah. How is black people going to look at it?
Like you're a hero.
Many of us who feel the way I do. I understand that. But maybe if you tell your story on some type of news channel, the people who don't feel you will feel you.
And put a suit on and talk to Katie Couric. Well, I just think that racism, white supremacy is a terrible thing, and we should be working to dismantle it because people of all colors and genders, we should be holding hands and like singing songs together, you know. Okay, I got you, brother.
On some type of news channel, the people who don't feel you will feel you. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Kwame, there's been too many people talking. Rest in peace to everybody. They're talking. It's over. It's time for a revolution, brother.
I think he was angry and next to you.
If you are my brother, turn the weapon on both sides.
There you go. This is what I say to all of them. If you are my brother, turn your weapon on both sides.
If you are my brother, turn the weapon on both sides. You know what? Nah.
What's up, Erica?
Play the long game. Play the long game. Stay on their team. A year later, when you're out kill them all.
Let me play that one more time for the rest of y'all. You know, play the long game, bro. You know what? See, it really messed him up because they're like, could he be doing that? Could he be playing this long game? Because he has to know. Because they be like, if it was me and I had the chance to slit my daddy's throat while I was shaving his beard, I would have slit his throat and been free a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they always wonder, like, why don't these Negroes just rise up and kill us all? You know what I'm saying? What is taking them so long? What is going on? You know what I'm saying? And so him throwing like that in the game, pretty genius.
If you are my brother, turn the weapon on both sides. You know what? Nah. Play the long game. Play the long game. Stay on their team. A year later, when you're out here, kill them all.
Y'all.
Kill them all like a zero. Kill them all like a wave.
I was
Play the long game, bro. He dropping dollars, man.
I just want to know, X. We talking, having a good conversation right here. Think we're having a pretty good conversation? Yeah.
About it.
All right,
Device
all
on
right.
the robot.
All right, y'all. So yes, and shouts out to Erica, you know what I'm saying, all day, you know. Let me see. Yeah, man, I just had to come on because that's just something that I learned during, I guess, you know, Black history or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I guess, you know, I'm about to get out of here, but you know, that's just a common theme that I see with it, you know what I'm saying? So hold on, let me hopefully I stopped it, but I can't pull it back up. All right. But yeah, man, you know, basically to sum it up, you know, like Carter G. Woodson said, you know, we supposed to be learning Black history all year. And then I guess his point was to bring back what we know as a collective, what we have learned about Black history, and then present it to each other so that we can all learn from each other. So, you know, I guess that's what I'll say for, you know, the thing about Black History Month, even though we talk about it all the time. But I definitely got to say, you know, shouts out to the real ones, you know, speaking the language of the unheard, you know what I'm saying? All right. And so let me, I guess, you know what I'm saying, this will sum it up, I guess. And y'all forgive me because it's probably going to take a minute to come up. All right, no, here we go. This will be, you know, this can sum it up better than I could. Shouts out to,
The small band of slaves killed Nat's owner, Joseph Travis, his wife and son,
I see him messing it up,
as well as a hired worker, in their beds while they slept. After the group left, they recalled that there was one more member of the Travis family. So 2 slaves returned to kill the infant in its cradle.
Haha. See, they ain't gonna let me cut it off.
Nat felt that this violence was necessary to finally bring about the change needed to awaken abolitionist allies and shake the foundation of slavery to pieces.
Yeah, you get
to
the
Nat,
point, though.
This wasn't about anger. It was holy retribution.
I see, yeah, I won't even cut
Over
off,
the next 2 days, the rebellion brought Old
But it is
Testament
what it is. I
carnage to
got
the
my point
Southampton
across.
countryside, killing more than 60 whites in their path. Hundreds of federal troops and thousands of white militiamen intercepted the rebellion on its way to the center of the county's government, a town named Jerusalem. Nat managed to escape, hiding himself in the woods for over 2 months until he was found. Once captured, he was quickly tried, convicted, and hanged. His body was
All right, yeah, thank you. There we go. All right, let me see. Yeah, see, I can't even touch anything. It's going to straight keep freezing up. But I still got to give you the point, you know what I'm saying? man. But I say all that to say, I guess I'll be the first to nominate this one for mention in Black History Month history. And so, I'll let this be, and Raw agrees. I don't know if any of y'all agree, but I think this can go down into like, Black history. We can, or it should be mentioned some Februarys, you know what I'm saying? Just like some of the other stuff we talked about today. Damn, y'all can't even see it. Damn, I'm tripping. My bad. See, I told you this joint started messing up, All right, my bad, y'all. Thank you, Raw. I told you, yeah, let me know if it was messing up because my computer is like acting crazy right now. I hit it, but it's not doing it. But I nominate this video for Black History, month that could be mentioned in Black History Month. I nominate this as the new entry into Black History Month. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all agree? Should this be admitted into a Black History Month thing? Or as we recognize our history as we should. I nominate this as a new entry into a list of all of our history.
We got action, brother. He ain't finna do nothing. Arrest that ass. Oh, Lord. The move out. They ready to move out. He ready to run. Yeah.
least we contributed one thing to Black History Month. Like brothers jumping in the water to go get into a fight with alligators in the water. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, we got one thing into the history books at least, if nothing else. We might not got no businesses or no unity or no marriages or no friendship or no love, but at least we got this in the books, I guess. You know, we got hope, yo.
Woo! He ran, he jumped in the water. Yeah. Get in their ass. Oh, look at the bras. The bras jumping their ass. Cause y'all were wrong for jumping on that black man like that, baby.
Gotta get the old man. Old man stuff. Gotta go to the beginning where he like hemmed up. He hit him with that granddaddy, like, is you crazy, boy? Is you crazy? You gonna jump up in my face? Another older brother, the old second, and then the sisters came in. The sisters came in with the beautiful teamwork. Oh man. Hold on, let me see. All right, so yeah, what y'all think, man? I nominate that one for it's not history, I guess. Is it going to be the new Black history? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, if you ain't learning how to speak the language of forget unheard, the ones that can't hear, because sometimes people can only hear one language. You know what I'm saying? And then when you speak it, they can hear you. You know. Yeah, with unity, we are definitely unbeatable, you know. Hell, they can't even wipe us off the map, and we ain't been unified in like hundreds of years, and they still can't wipe us off the map. But imagine if we ever get unified, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Y'all can vote for that, you know what I'm saying? Is this the new Black history? Does this belong with all of the history that we've seen so far? Raw agrees, I agree. But anyway. I'll even let this be the last words just for them, you know. Just to make it balance out, you know.
But at the same time, it is as necessary for me to be as vigorous in condemning the conditions which cause persons to feel that they must engage in riotous activities as it is for me to condemn riots. I think America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions continue to exist in our society, which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. In the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. What is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last few years. It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. And it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo than about justice, equality, and humanity. And so in a real sense, our nation's summers of riots are caused by our nation's winters of delay. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Yeah. I can tell you the ultimate of riot prevention, and that's prevent anything to speak the language of the ones who can't hear. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't about us being heard. They can't hear anyway. So speak the language that they understand. That's all I can tell you. But anyway, shouts out to Raw in the building. Shouts out to Erica in the building. I appreciate you. Shouts out to Bukari in the building, to Oni, to RBG in the building, to Koku in the building, my brother Anthony, Matron in the building. You know, and I appreciate all of y'all, you know. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.